Okay, I am back with another wild story. My name is Liam Wild, and today I have a very wild story that's pretty recent, pretty raw. I apologize for not getting anything out when I said I was going to. I know I said Mondays and Fridays I was going to post the pod, but you're going to learn a little bit to why I didn't do that very, very soon. Um, let's just get right into it. So, I got let go from my first tech job in 1 week. Not 3.5 weeks, not 3 months. And you know what? Getting fired might have been the best thing that happened to me. I'm gonna get into this. I'm not gonna give you any fluff, any guru BS or anything like that. This is just gonna be a really real story. Um, Today I'm gonna tell you kind of how I talked my way into a job at an AI incubator. And if you don't know what that is, don't worry. I'll let you know what it is. I got thrown into the deep end with no life jacket, and somehow I started learning, but I didn't learn fast enough. And that's totally fine because I learned that I wasn't really ready for the opportunity yet. So here's the wild part: is I'm actually grateful for the week that I had there, and let's just get into it. So I'll give you some context, the setup of how this all came to be. So my background is in direct sales, door to door, cold calling, even warm inbound leads, that sort of thing, right? And I've built and scaled a door to door team before. I've led people, so my skill set is sales leadership. That's kind of what I'm going into this with. That I think that's my skill set. And not that I don't have other skills, but those are the skills that I thought would, leverage me to be successful there. I knew I was good at that. I knew how to handle objections. I knew how to work volume, funnel numbers, all that good stuff. And, you know, just I was really curious about tech and AI in general. I had been reading books, had been watching YouTube videos. I know that in this day and age, AI is at the forefront of everything. And after being at this AI incubator, I know that it's really going to take jobs from people, and that we have a very small amount of time before, like, you can really take advantage of this AI to actually get rich and be super successful in it. And that's why I wanted to join this. I knew that I wanted to start somewhere that, like, I was really interested, where I'd be in a positive proximity to a lot of world class minds in the field. So that's really why I wanted to get in there, and I had a lot of charisma. I applied for a job there, and I had my initial interview, and it was a really fast paced interview. It really was, and I was just super ready for it. And I had so much charisma that I think that it didn't give the most clear picture to what my skill set was, let alone the hiring process was not as per usual. They really wanted to get someone in quick. So I originally applied for like a sales representative role, but then a day later I got a call from the person who interviewed me, and he said, "Hey, like, I sent you through to the next round of interviews, but I think you'd be really good at this other role, this AI growth assistant role." And I was like, "Well, I just want in because I want that positive proximity with, these great minds." So I was like, "All right, cool. Let's run it. Let's do it." And then I got a call from the portfolio manager, and he told me right away that, "Hey, buddy, like, I just wanted to make sure that you weren't a lunatic, and that you had some skills and that you could speak all right. And I also wanted to tell you that this is not going to be a cushy job." And and me thinking, I'm like, I knocked on doors for a living. I'm not really looking for a cushy job. Like, I'm looking for something where I will learn a lot, be able to leverage new skills, and advance in the company. You know, I want to be at the forefront of this amazing industry that's still relatively new, that I think is going to be, you know, it's going to change the world. It's going to change the world. So I said, yeah, like, let's do it. And he told me, I just wanted to let you know that it's more of like an internship, and not, we're going to bring in a couple of people, like around 3 people, and not everyone's going to make it past 2 weeks. And me thinking about that, how many people did I train in door to door that didn't make it past 2 days? Like, that's totally normal in a fast paced environment where people, they fall off because it's just not for them, right? But what I knew about me is that I'm super driven, I'm interested, and I really want to make this work. So whatever the targets are, whatever this is, whatever you throw at me, I'm going to do my absolute best. And looking back on it, I think I did, you know, my best for the time, but I didn't ultimately, because I did get let go. And it wasn't like I, you know, showed up super late or anything like that. I'll get into everything, but the interview, looking back on it, I had done my research on the company, but I had never been there. I never really experienced tech sales, SaaS sales, that type of environment. So I knew this was going to be very new to me. And I was thinking, okay, like, I'm going to learn right away. Like, they're going to onboard me, and then I'm going to get my feet under myself and be able to handle my business. And that's not exactly how it turned out to be. Is that I think I'm a fast learner when it comes to something I'm interested in. I think that has something to do with my ADHD, where, you know, when you're interested in something, you go all in. But if you're not super interested in it, yeah, whatever, right? So for me, I was really interested in AI, what they were building there, as well as I was just super driven to be successful, because that's just the type of person I am. I want to do the very best I can. So I got there. Let's talk about day one. I show up and there's 2 other people there, and they're really nice, good people, young, you know, super eager, excited, just like myself. And I'm thrilled to just even be in the building. So I'm expecting an onboarding. You know, we're gonna sit down. They're gonna run us through their framework, their systems, and then I'm gonna be, you know, put on a task, given a project. Well, 30 minutes in, I'm not even exaggerating, like less than an hour in to the job, before there's any onboarding, we're sitting there. We get into the building. The portfolio manager walks up to me with a few other people, and I like stand up, shake the hand, nice smile, you know, introduce myself. An introduction is extremely important, right? How you talk to people is, when they say first impressions count, they really do. So, you know, I shine the pearly whites and I say, hey, nice to meet you. My name is Liam Wild. And he's like, yeah, Liam, we were just talking about you. I was like, oh, really? Okay, what were you guys talking about? He said, we think we have something that you could help us out on. So the other 2 people are there, and now they're just talking to me. Mind you, this is 15 seconds into actually meeting the portfolio manager. And he said, we have this founder here. He's created this software for this problem, and we think that you'd be really good to go to businesses around here and try to drum up some business and perhaps even get a sale. So for me, I'm like, wow, they're already thinking about what I can do here to show value. So I'm super excited about the opportunity. I say, yeah, let's go. What do you want to do? Okay, you're going to sit down with the founder. He's going to tell you a little bit about what you're going to sell, and then you're going to go out and do it. So there was no onboarding. It was straight into the fire. It was a baptism by fire. And I sit down, he teaches me, and I'm like about his software. I'm thinking, this is really cool. I think this will actually be able to, sell itself. I'm super excited. And what the software, it helped with accounts receivable. So it was just automation instead of people actually chasing overdue invoices. And for me, I'm like, well, who likes making that terrible call anyways? Like, hey, you haven't paid me yet. So I'm thinking, well, if an AI can call them and do the job for them, then why wouldn't they want to do it? I didn't really know too much about this. All I know is that what he told me is that it was a de-risk trial, because it was like $5,000 annually, and then if we didn't get a certain amount of money back within the first 90 days, they just got their money back. So I'm thinking, okay, yeah, I can pitch this, and he runs through everything with me, and then I'm like, okay, I'm going to make a script, and then I'm going to go out there. So I made the script, followed my systems from door knocking, and I said, all right, I'm ready to go. This is how startups move. Everything's really fast. So let's do this. I can handle this. And honestly, it was good that they threw this at me in the beginning because, going like door to door to businesses, I'd never really done that before, but it was a little bit into like my comfort zone, somewhat, if you want to call it that, because I had done like that direct sales before. So I got in my car and I started just going to all these different HVAC, plumbing, and electricians, all their brick and mortars, because that's what the original business that this founder thought would be best for this software. So I go there and I do my pitch, and I got a lot of like cards. There wasn't a lot of decision makers. And the other thing is I'm learning this about like plumbers, and a lot of them were like, no, dude, we're good. So you would be I would say like, so you'd be opposed to saving time and money by automating something that you do right now yourself? Yeah, saving time and money, I don't want anything to do with that. Okay, cool. I'll get out of here. That's the reality of cold calling, whatever, is that if they say something ridiculous, like you would seriously be mad at me if I saved your time and money, then they're not your buyer. So I'm showing up to these businesses unannounced, trying to drum up some business here, and I did get one booked meeting. They even put the Stripe app on my phone. They're like, "You're gonna get a sale today, buddy." I'm thinking, wow, $5,000 sale on my first. Like, I wanted it because I knew that if I was able to do that, I'd go from here all the way to here. Yeah, first day, talked to a lot of businesses, didn't really get much out of it. A lot of driving and everything. No real learning other than about the software and kind of their ICP, their ideal customer profile. So this will just give me a second here to talk about like what a AI incubator is. It's basically these founders who have created a software, have an idea, a problem that can be solved with AI. This company, they help invest in them to make sure that their AI flourishes. It gives them the space to grow, right? So I was brought in as an assistant to help some of these founders grow, and I've been put on this task right away, and I had to go out and get those leads, and I did. And when I came back, I didn't go back that day because I literally went from like 10:30 to like 5 p.m. just going from HVAC plumbing business one to the next. And it was crazy too because a lot of the people that I would talk to, like the receptionist, they would say, "Oh, I do this." So you're talking to someone about a software that can literally take their job. I don't know how well received that was from them. I don't know if they really wanted to support me in getting to a decision maker. That was really the biggest issue, though, getting to speak with a decision maker. I did at one, booked that meeting. They said that they were going to hire someone from the Philippines to do it. And honestly, that's, to me, that was the perfect type of customers that you acknowledge you have the problem, you already figured out a solution by outsourcing this. Why don't you look at your option? So got them in. They didn't even show up to the meeting. Stood up the founder. Oh, well, that's not a great start. It is what it is, right? You got to keep moving. That is sales, right? You're not going to get everyone. And maybe I could have done better with, trying to set up that. But I guess, I'm not going to make excuses for myself. It was the first day. And it is what it is. I think that like plumbers, electricians, HVAC owners, they're really busy, and they think if their business is doing all right, the vibe that I got was that if it's not broken, don't fix it. So it was more that I talked them into going to a meeting, but it didn't appeal to them enough because they didn't maybe think it was a problem enough for them to really pursue a different way of getting those accounts receivable, chasing those overdue invoices. So I did that first day, and then the second day, founder texts me in the morning. He says, "Yeah, let's have you going out earlier because some of those business owners are going to be around early in the morning doing those correlation meetings." Okay, bet. So get in my car, and I just did the same thing. Plumbers, HVAC companies, electricians. So I did that for the first half of the day, and no more real luck. It was same old. I'd get a card. I could send an email with that card. No decision maker to talk to. Just a lot of receptionists. And even with that being said, finding these businesses, some of them went out of business. So you drive there and then you realize it's on Google Maps, but it doesn't exist anymore. So I'm thinking this is not the most effective way to do this. So I text the founder. I say, I think that door-to-door might not be the best for this. I think that, cold calling might be better. He agreed. So get back, and I say, all right, well, I'm going to do some cold calls. Mind you, I have no calling software, so no dialer, which is really important because what you want to do when you're cold calling is have a software where you're able to match the number of the firms that you're calling. And also, it's going to give you data on calling times, and all that's good stuff, right? So I didn't have that. And I didn't have leads either. Now, if you're wanting to do cold calling, it works. It can work, right? But you need to have systems in place. You need to know where to get your leads. Like, you may have a phone, but you don't have any leads, right? So what you can do is you can go online and you can find a lead scraper. It's a tool that you can use. You'll have to pay for it to actually scrape lead data off the internet, like LinkedIn and stuff, and it's going to get you the information of decision makers for the businesses that you want. So that's what I did. I used a lead scraper, got a file, like a CSV file of leads, and started calling. And at first I definitely needed to call Canadian companies because I didn't have any I didn't have a calling software, so I couldn't call anything American because we just charged my phone plan. So what I did is I started making dials, and I didn't have any luck in the beginning because what I knew is that I needed to show value. Value was what was most important, And what value really is impact in a certain amount of time. Like what kind of impact and what per unit of time do you have? Because if you don't have any impact in a long unit of time, you're not showing any value. Therefore, they're paying you and you're not adding anything to the business. And I understand that. So I had to figure out things quick. So the next day, I realized I didn't get anything from cold calling. That day was a 0, which I'm not used to, but I had to get into it. And the next day is a Friday. We started on a Wednesday, and I started cold calling again. I actually got 4 booked meetings off of a lead sheet that got scraped. However, those 4 booked meetings, all plumbers, electricians. I was texting them before the meetings and everything, and some of them did respond, and they just kind of, the thing is I think I talked them into it, right? I felt like after, when I was trying to confirm the meeting, they either had other business owners, the other decision makers that they talked to and said it wasn't a good idea, or it's just like wasn't something that they wanted to pursue right now. And a lot of them canceled the meetings or just didn't show, just ghosted me. So now I'm not feeling that good about myself. It's because although I had a 4 booked meeting day, I still didn't really have any value to show. And I'm starting to, feel a little shaky about it because, mind you, I haven't done any onboarding. I don't know really what's, the whole vibe of the office because I didn't get the time to spend it in the incubator. So they did give me some documents to read, and I started reading them, and geez, like the SOPs in this company were insane. I really wish that I was able to memorize them because they're incredible. And then the next Monday, I thought I was like, okay, what do I need? I need a CRM because if I'm going to be doing cold calling and stuff, I need, somewhere to put all this data and manage it so I can do follow-ups, all that kind of stuff. Because right now I'm just flying by. So from there, I kind of investigate different CRMs, but I realized I have to pay for this. They didn't have anything set up, and I asked about a dialer. They didn't have any of that either, so I feel like I'm a little bit stuck in a rock and a hard place. I need to make the calls, but I don't necessarily have the right things. Now, I got some training on the Mondays that they talked a lot about being AI first. And here's what I didn't understand going into this, is that when they're saying AI first, they didn't just mean someone who's interested in AI and wants to learn. No, they're talking about someone that's AI native. So they can really use these super powerful AI tools to maximize output. Now for me, from my background, I knocked on doors. And I use ChatGPT, and I was just getting myself familiarized with other large language models. And I do use AI on a daily basis, but not to the same degree as the people that were already working there. So I did feel a little intimidated by the fact that I don't know really how to be super AI first, because that's not really my wheelhouse. But I want to learn. I need to learn fast, and how better way to do it other than using AI to learn fast. So I tried to, I'd come home at night, I'd throw it into ChatGPT, what would, my little problems, how can I fix this? And I'm understanding that from the time I was there is that, prompts, you need to say less to the prompts to get more direct to your problem solving. Sometimes we just throw junk into these prompts thinking that the AI is going to really solve what we need. And it can, because it is super powerful and it scours the web, but you need to be specific to get the best. responses, and they can make mistakes as well. So what AI was telling me is, you need to just keep on making phone calls. There's going to be this many phone calls that you should make. You need to get a power dialer. So I did. I ended up getting a power dialer, but it didn't even. I had to pay for the extra power dialer, and I'm thinking like I'm not even a week in here, and I asked for one and I couldn't get one, so I just needed to get one myself. So I took a free trial, and I wasn't able to get power dialer access on that. It was just the cell phone, and it was just my regular number. So I started with some of the lead sheets that I had scraped. They were US numbers and just random numbers all over Canada. So it wasn't local. So I did start trying more local businesses. And Monday, I got one book meeting. So now I'm thinking, okay, not doing so great. And I had a meeting with the person I reported to, and he said, so 15 book meetings, you think you can do that? I'm thinking, well, yeah, I can probably do 15 book meetings. I've done it before with not necessarily cold calling, but having inbound leads from ads and stuff. I've done this kind of stuff before. I'm still, creating the right script. I'm still working a little bit on the script. I think what's important is that when you're making a lot of cold calls, is that when things aren't really working, it's important to tweak. So I was doing a lot of tweaking to try to find the sweet spot. But after that day, the founder was thinking, hey, maybe let's try not HVAC or electricians or plumbers, because we weren't having much success with them even showing up to the meetings. They weren't really that serious. They're running a business, and it was just a cold call. And maybe that's because of myself and not really having that experience. I'm definitely, like I said, I'm not perfect. I was trying to do my best, but there were still probably things that I screwed up on. And I did ask questions, and they did give me like a library of information that could help me. And I looked at it, but the time was ticking. Now there's a target on me, and I know if I don't make this target, I'm not going to be there next week. I know how cutthroat this industry is after being there. So I'm watching these videos at I'm fast forwarding them, trying to get the information. I am using techniques. I'm texting to confirm and trying to use good language to try to get a response, all that. And the founder said, well, HVAC, electricians, plumbers, not really working. Let's try to go for lawyers. I'm thinking, okay, all right, we'll go for lawyers. Let's do that. It is a little bit different than a plumber. So it was a different client base now. So I'm thinking, okay, well, I'm going to have to switch up the pitch, because the pitch for the plumber and the lawyer is not going to be the same. It's going to have similarities, but they have different problems. So trying to develop that. Didn't have a CRM until I think it was Tuesday. Talked to the founder. I said, hey, man, I'm thinking like HubSpot or something. I got a free trial for it. And he said, oh, you got a free trial for it? Well, I have a HubSpot. I can just connect you to it. Perfect. So I did get HubSpot, and then I switched my dialer to the HubSpot dialer. But if you've ever used HubSpot, that CRM, you'll know that they just gatekeep little things they can optimize. So what I mean by gatekeep is that they make you pay for other little things, like to add different call outcomes or a power dialer. So I had like a lead sheet, and I was putting that in, and then I would call, and I'm making these lead sheets. I'm scraping them off the internet with the help of one of the new growth assistants, because young guy, but he knew what he was doing. He had done a lot of cold calling, and he really taught me what lead scraping was. So shout out to him. But from some of those scrapes, we're just not having much success. And I started just going back to like local Google Maps and calling firms directly. Why? Because I knew that a connection rate would be higher there, and I started tracking all these numbers too. Um, because I needed funnel numbers, and what I know is that the best people in like cold outreach, everyone needed to track their numbers when they were knocking doors on my team, because if you don't know what your numbers are, then you're just flying blind. You don't know what is the bottleneck if you don't have any data. So I'm doing this, and I realize connection rate is awful, so I'm gonna start cold calling businesses off like Google Maps. So I started all over Canada, and it'd be reception, try to get from the gatekeeper, which is the receptionist, to the operations manager, who's the lawyer, or whomever, and that worked. Like, I'd get them on the phone, and then them to actually get me with the decision maker probably 50% of the time. And of that, like, a lot of those calls that actually went to the decision maker, like that they tried to connect me, they were busy because they're working in a law firm, so they're always in meetings and stuff like that. So the connection rate was about 25%, which isn't terrible. However, a lot of them didn't feel like it was a major problem for them. They already had systems in place, automation, that sort of stuff. And I only got like one good booked meeting. One good booked meeting on that Wednesday. And mind you, on that Tuesday, I made 208 phone calls and didn't book a meeting. So what I know is that in sales, you have to keep a positive attitude. You can't feel dejected. That's what it was. But of course, I knew that like something had to give, and I had to fix some things as well. So that's where everything kind of, like, the pressure really got on, because I went 2 days, only had one booked meeting, and now I'm on Thursday and I have another booked meeting. So I have Wednesday, and I have three book meetings on Wednesday, and I'm supposed to have 15 by the end of the week. I'm freaking like stressed out. I'm coming home on that Wednesday night, and I'm like, oh my god, like I'm not gonna have a job. And I really was just like on ChatGPT and Claude and just trying to figure out the best systems, and I had developed systems to, like, I was even tracking my hourly call rate and everything, but I realized, because I didn't even have this power dialer because I didn't pay for it, that I was limiting myself. I wasn't going to make as many phone calls, and at that time, to get 50 meetings, I had to have at least 900 phone calls in that amount of time in the next 2 days. And I'm thinking, man, like, I'm averaging like 120 calls a day. So I got a lawyer booked in, and that Thursday she showed up. She showed up to the meeting, because lawyers, they're probably a little bit more serious if they're gonna, when you talk about a meeting with them over a plumber or an electrician or something, because and the founder, when he got on the call, he came out and he came to me and he had a smile on his face. He said, that was really good, like, you really set that up well, and that I think she wants it. She's just got to confirm with her boss to make sure everything's all good, but it's likely going to close. So now I'm feeling a little bit of relief. I'm thinking, okay, he had one good meeting. I know it's been like a week and I haven't shown too much value, but he has one now, and hopefully it closes, because I think that might buy myself a little bit more time to, dial things in and refine stuff. So that day, I started doing the same thing where it was like that I was doing the day before. And I ended up booking 2 more meetings. But before the end of the day, the person that I reported to, he slacks me. He says, "Hey, can we meet at 4?" I'm thinking, "Okay, yeah, sure, whatever." I'm thinking I'm gonna at least get to Monday if they're gonna let me go. It's 4 o'clock. I've made, I think I've made like 111 phone calls by this time, 2 book meetings, and I get in there, and he says, "Hey, so I talked to the team, and we've just decided that the best thing is that we're gonna let you go." I'm just okay. So I asked him like, what was like the reasoning? He said, "Not AI first enough." Okay. And we want someone with a bigger toolbox. So it was eye opening. I want to say this, that I'm not like upset about what happened. Like, of course, I wish I really succeeded, but I got thrown into something where I don't think they necessarily knew what I was going to do there, like what project I was going to work on, where I could really show value. It was an audition. It was to see if they hired me based off my potential, because I talked the talk on the interview. And then when I didn't show enough value in the first week, they didn't have the time to front me to start being successful. And when I'm just in the corner and everyone else is working, and I'm making cold calls, and they're seeing they're like I'm making a lot of them, and I'm not really not really getting much. Yeah, it's not a good look on me. So I understood why they let me go. I did. And like I said, I had, I'm appreciative. I'm thankful for the opportunity, for the proximity and everything. But it really wasn't just the right fit at the right time. But now, after being there, I have a better understanding of what I'd actually need to work on to get to where I'd want to be in tech sales, software sales, AI, right? And it's allowed me to think about different things that I need to work on. So, first of all, just being more adept with different CRMs, because I also had to learn the HubSpot CRM within, I was still learning it, because I hadn't had it for very long. I'd never used it before. Well, if I get to learn that and I get a certification, that can help me, as well as toolbox. I got to show more value with other things, with other skills, right? I could have used marketing skills and that kind of stuff, and I could have tried to implement that, but I was also thinking, I was I had ideas, but I didn't necessarily put them out there because I was too focused on that target, that I just knew I had to make phone calls because that was probably the best option for me. I was just thinking. So, and also just the lead scraping, trying to get better leads, trying to figure out the right fit. Ultimately, though, I did learn a lot. Even from for a week being there, it really was eye-opening. And I have a really good idea about how tech companies work, especially startups and just big time tech firms like an AI incubator. They don't have time for this stuff, because you got to think about how fast the innovation is moving. If you're not keeping up with how fast the innovation is moving, they don't have time for you. They can always get someone else. Everyone wants to work there. Well, maybe not everyone, but a lot of people would love to, because you can make crazy money. And in the next few years, AI is going to be even more prevalent in our day-to-day lives. So if you can capitalize on this basically it's an AI gold rush. If you can create a software, an AI, that will change the world by solving a problem that will make more time for people to do the things that they want, save people time and money, that's an opportunity. So if you've listened to this from someone that was there for a week, I'm giving you somewhat of a blueprint of how you can make money with AI. And all of this information is on YouTube too, to try to execute a plan. As well as you can just ask AI. You can ask Claude. You can ask ChatGPT. Right? These LLMs will help you build a 30-day plan for a goal. And if you stick to that, you can get there. So, as for me, I didn't argue it. I drove home. I showed up to a gunfight with a knife, basically, with that job. I just didn't have the right skills at that moment. And I don't think it was definitely not for a lack of trying. It definitely was not. But what I did learn is that at least cold outreach is definitely not easy, but you can get business doing it. It's not the easiest. You need to have really good systems and the right software to help you get there. And I think it's all about volume. It was just myself doing it, so that's all right. But it would have probably been nice to have been there before and tried to really have a game plan stepping in. But hey, it is what it is. And as for what's next for me, I have a few different things that I'm interested in. I want to explore options. And if you've listened to this and you think that I might be a good fit for something that you're doing or whatever the case may be, I'm open to exploring anything. But I know that I'm going to be successful with the mindset that I have. And I'm not going to let this, get me down. I'm going to do the steps necessary to be successful in this. And if I choose to go back into tech sales, I will be ready next time. I promise you that. But what I knew is I called my parents. I called my girlfriend after, and they felt bad for me. And it's like, it's all good. Like, don't even feel too bad for me. I got an opportunity. They're gonna pay me as well for the time I did spend there. But it was eye-opening, and now I have some skills just from a week being there that's going to help me for what I'm going to do next. Because next time I'm in whatever, I'm going to be AI first. Because if you're a candidate that is not, proficient in AI but has great credentials, and there's probably another candidate that has just as good credentials but is proficient in AI, they're probably going to pick that person. So if you're wondering how you can be more AI first, just ask the AI. That's what I'm doing. I'm just asking AI, what can I do to be better using AI and use this powerful tool to 10x my output? So I actually did add a little bit of value. I had that booked meeting, and I booked 2 on the day that I did get let go. So, and they were with lawyers too. So hopefully they show up, but I'm not going to confirm that meeting because I don't work there anymore. But if there was anything I absolutely can take away from this, is that the world is changing fast with artificial intelligence. And you, and myself included, need to be on the cutting edge if you're young and you really want to make the most out of this day and age, because you do not want to be left behind in AI. And I also learned that, my door knocking skills, my ability to take rejection and, learn from it, it's helped me a lot in this process after getting let go. And I do have a lot of amazing people that support me, so I'm all good. I'm all good, and next time I ever do some cold calling, I'm gonna have a better system in place, ultimately. So, thanks for listening, and I'm gonna get back to doing this twice a week. But you can imagine how stressed I was trying to get all those get those 15 meetings, even though I didn't. I think that also proves that like I'm using it as an excuse. It's not an excuse, but I think that is a factor in it, and to why I didn't get those 15 book meetings is because I let other things in my life go a little bit. Like this is important to me. I mean, I still like did my morning routine and everything like that, but yeah, it engulfed me for that time. So thanks again for watching. There's gonna be more coming from this. I got lots of stories. I'm always gonna put myself out there. You know, 1L, it is what it is. You gotta fail to eventually win, right? And what I know to be true is that I'm definitely not a quitter. I didn't quit on it. They just took me out. So keep on watching. I promise I'm gonna be a little bit better on the videos. I hope everyone's blessed and healthy, and you'll see me next time. Bye. Okay.